This happened when I was around 10 years old. It was the Bon Festival, stifling hot. People think of Fukui as a snowy area, but summers are extremely hot. My uncle and aunt came to play. Because of the heat, they suggested going swimming in the river at a deep pool called Hataori. Even in daylight, the water was surprisingly cold in the dim pool well. Pools are that kind of place, so no wonder. But the chill felt pleasant too. The river water was a deep green. People of old said pools are where spirits dwell, that kind of vibe. Like something was lurking there. That pool had a local legend. I heard it from my grandpa. Long ago, there was a girl whose livelihood was weaving cloth on a traditional loom. She was said to be very beautiful and popular. The feudal lord took notice and tried to make her his mistress. But she rejected him. In anger, the lord falsely accused her of a crime and had her drowned alive at the bottom of the river, pinned under a heavy boulder. Ever since, late at night, the sound of her weaving and a woman's voice crying and screaming can be heard from beneath that rock. She must have met such a tragic end. That's why the place is called Hataori, because she wove cloth there. In the middle of the deep pool, a large rock sticks out. It's said she still weaves her loom under it to this day. Of course, it's just a legend, so I didn't really believe it. There were 4 of us, me, uncle, aunt, and older cousin. We had fun splitting watermelon on the riverbank, fishing, and diving off the rocky cliff into the water. Good times really do fly by. Evening came and we heard Higurashi cicada starting up their kana kana kana. By now the water was cold. That was fun. Should we head back? Uncle and big cousin went up the 5-meter cliff to get some small items from the parked car. My aunt and I checked for any trash left behind. The round trip up the cliff took maybe 5 minutes. In that time, it happened. I was about done checking for litter and turned to tell my aunt. But her face was pale blue. She was shaking all over, staring fixedly at a certain spot, the rock. What's going on? I wondered and looked that way too. Something was emerging from the dim river, a black lump. A human head? A woman with long wet hair. Plastered her head half out of the water facing our way. No body below. What the hell? Crap, if she sees us, we're screwed. I quietly went over to my aunt and tried tapping her shoulder to gesture, let's sneak away. Kaya! On edge, my careless action made her shriek. Damn, the head turned toward us with a sloshing sound. Just remembering makes me nauseous and gives me a headish. Pitch black skin, bloated and peeling in places. Eyes bright red and bulging, wildly looking around before settling on us. The woman grinned, her severed head floating. Partially bald, long damp tangled hair. Found you. My replacement. She said in an eerie raspy voice full of resentment. Jaya, my aunt screamed. You Wayne, I cried. The head approached, smiling creepily. Drawing close to my aunt, her face contorted horribly, mouth opening wide. Black teeth and gums from bloody filth. One, I shouted, and my aunt stumbled back in surprise. But with a smacking sound, the head pounced, chomping into her arm. Ah, Jaya, woo-woo-woo. My aunt shrieked at the top of her lungs. The head kept smiling, firmly attached to her arm. My mind grew hazy. From the edge of fading consciousness, I heard uncle and cousin shouting. When I came to, I was laid out on bedding at home. Uncle had taken aunt to the hospital. Cousin's face was pale, and he shook with fear. I asked what happened after, but he wouldn't tell me. Aunt was hospitalized immediately. When I visited a few days later, her left arm was bandaged. She muttered, "Don't come. What are you looking at?" Aunt's mind was disturbed. A few years later, she committed suicide by hanging. No suicide note. We had a woman said to be very spiritually sensitive, Dad's acquaintance. Look at us once. She said it's best not to speak of this to others. But it's too painful now, I had to tell someone. I'm tired of this. That woman still watches me sometimes. What's so funny? I want her to go bother someone, anyone else.